Very good evening, everyone. Very good evening. So, we are live. Welcome to the third session of the CMA Inter Paper number 8 revision series. So, we are now live. Quickly join in and let me know if the audio and the video is clear. All those who are joining in, and share with all your friends that we have joined in. Let me know all those who are joining in quickly. Is the audio video clear? Good evening, Yash. Namaste, Ankit. All clear. Chalo ji. We'll wait for 3-4 minutes so that more students join in before we start with our session. थोड़ा सा वेट और करेंगे. गुड इवनिंग शशि राजपूत. करो जी करो, ज्वाइन इन करो और शेयर कर दो अपने दोस्तों के साथ कि लाइव हो चुका है. जो लोग लेबर कॉस्टिंग की रिवीजन करना चाहते हैं फटाफट से सभी कॉन्सेप्ट्स लेबर कॉस्टिंग के हम लोग कर देंगे रिवाइज. गुड इवनिंग लिस्मान नारायण. गुड इवनिंग कोमल. थैंक यू अंकित, थैंक यू. बट कीप शेयरिंग विद ऑल योर फ्रेंड्स. अपने दोस्तों के साथ शेयर करते रहो सो दैट बाकी बच्चों में भी अवेयरनेस हो इस चीज को लेकर. हमने बहुत मेहनत की है लाइव बैच में, इतना कुछ कवर किया है, तो बस अब आप लोगों का काम है उसको शेयर करना. इसको एक तरह से गुरु दक्षिणा समझ लो, ठीक है ना. अगर आपने गुरु दक्षिणा देनी है तो शेयर कर दो सबके साथ. गुड इवनिंग अभिषेक, जमीर. तो बस इतना, एटलीस्ट दिस मच आई एक्सपेक्ट फ्रॉम यू पीपल की शेयर कर दो, ज्यादा से ज्यादा शेयर कर दो. Yes, Divya. By around 5th or 6th, we'll be completing. Exam is starting from 15th. By approximately 6th, we will complete. Right? 10 days approximate time I'm taking. 6th, 7th maximum. Because on Sundays, we might be taking a longer session also, right? Okay, so let us start with the session, but only few people have joined in so far. All those who are live, please like the video. Please like the video, and if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, do also subscribe. Right? You can also follow us on Instagram. यश FM इको का बैच चल रहा है, कर लो ज्वाइन फटाफट से. तुमने कहा था सर करूंगा. FM इको का लाइव बैच चल रहा है. बिकॉज आई थिंक यू आर डूइंग CA CM में बोथ ना. है ना? तो लाइव बैच चल रहा है, आ जाओ ज्वाइन करो लाइव बैच सीए का। आफ्टर दैट 8 बजे लाइव बैच है आफ्टर दिस। Okay, so I think again the situation is same, very few students, so I don't know if we should be conducting the sessions or not. I'm not sure. For only 10-15 people, or either from tomorrow we will do only live session. We will not be providing the backups. Just do live session and that's it. Okay, let's start with the labor costing now. What is labor costing? Labor cost, another very important element of the cost. So when we discussed about the various elements of the cost, in that the first element was material cost, which we have already discussed in the yesterday's class. And the next important element is the labor cost. Now, what is a labor cost? In simple terms, if I say any amount paid or payable, any amount paid or payable, right, to the worker any amount paid or payable to the worker in cash or in kind, right? So this payment might be in the cash or this payment might be in kind. So it is a cost for the employer. If you talk it from the employer point of view, if you talk it from the employer point of view, it will be a cost, and for the employee, it will be an income, right? So any amount that is paid or payable to the worker, or whether it is paid in cash or whether it is paid in the kind. If you are giving a Diwali gift, even that gift is what? That is a cost to the employer. Something out of the pocket of the employer will be going on. Good evening, Vikas. Right? Something from the pocket of the employer will go, and anything which is any cost or any expense which is incurred from the pocket of an employer for the employee purpose, that is my employee cost, right? After that, the topic that we are going to do is determination of labor cost. The topic is determination of labor cost. Right? That how you determine what all things are included in the labor cost, or what all things are excluded from the labor cost. What are the various things that are included? The first thing that is included is the basic pay that you pay to the employee, right? Then after that, dearness allowance. Thank you, Nitesh. Thank you. Plus other allowances, right? Plus the perquisites, right? Then the bonus, if you are paying any bonus to the employee, that is also to be included. If any commission is being paid, that is also to be included, sir. Right? Then one more thing is to be included, very important, that is the employer's contribution. Listen to the word what I am saying. It is the employer's contribution. Employer's contribution to employer's contribution to PPF, it will be included. Employer's contribution to ESI, it will be included, right? After that, employer's contribution to PPF, ESI, then if any contribution to gratuity is there, that will be included. After that, any pension is there, contribution to that, etc. So if employer contributes some part of the employee salary to these things, PPF, for example, there is an employee Mr. A. There is an employee Mr. A. Right now, employer says that your total salary will be 20,000 that you will get in cash, 20,000 you will get in hand, plus I will pay 5,000 to your PPF and 5,000 to your ESI. Now, if the employer is paying 5,000, that means this 10,000 is again a cost to the employer, right? Total salary, this he will be getting in cash. This he will be getting in cash, right? This the employer will deposit to PPF. That is what he says. This he will deposit to ESI, right? So the total cost to the employer is 30,000. Total cost to the employer is 30,000, right? And there can be in the question, it might be given the employee's contribution also. Now, what is employee's contribution and why it is not considered in calculation of this? Sir, employee's contribution is once he has taken this 20,000, he puts this 20,000 in the pocket and moves towards his home, and on the way back he decides to contribute some amount. On the way he decides to contribute out of this 20,000, he decides to contribute 5,000 rupees to PPF. Right now, this is employee's contribution, but with this, does the employer cost increases? No, sir. The employer cost will remain 30,000 only. Now, whatever the employee is doing with his money, it is totally his choice, right? The employer is not concerned with it. Now, from this, you will have to subtract something. You will have to subtract if any recoveries from the employee. If there are any recoveries to be done from the employee. Recoveries from employee. If there are any recoveries to be done from employee, those are to be subtracted. That will calculate your total labor cost. Sir, what kind of recoveries can be there? This will be your total labor cost, right? Sir, what do you mean by recoveries here? Recoveries from the employee. For example, your employee wants a new bike, right? You say, okay, I'll pay 50,000 for the bike, right? It is for the official purpose only. But you say that in the due course of the time, you will the employee will have to pay 30,000 out of that, right? Let's say the bike total cost is 50,000 rupees, right? The employer says, okay, I will spend this 50,000, but in the due course of the time, let's say in the next 1 year, you will have to pay back 30,000 out of it. The employee agrees to that. Employee says, okay, sir, I'll do that. So what is the net cost? The net cost is 20,000 rupees. So this 30,000 is the recoveries from employee. So it can be related to bike, it can be related to home or anything else, right? So this becomes my total labor cost. After that, the next topic is, write down the next thing, that is total labor hours. Total labor hours, right? What is this total labor hours now? Total labor hours is the time spent. Total labor hours is the time spent by a worker it is the total time spent by a worker inside the factory. total time spent by the worker inside the factory, right? It is the total time that a worker is spending inside the factory for the working part. Now, this can be divided into two parts. This can be divided into two parts. One is the effective hours. One is the effective hours. Second is the idle time. Second is the idle time, right? Now, what are effective hours? Effective hours are those hours during which the production is taking place. What is idle time? The idle time is during which the production is not taking place, right? Now, for the idle time, we say no output during this time, no output, but wages are paid. Wages are paid, sir. You are paying, you are incurring the labor cost, but there is no output during this time. The labor cost will be incurred, but there is no output during this time, right? Now, this idle time can be further divided into two parts. This idle time can be further divided into two parts. One is the normal idle time. One is the normal idle time, and another one is the abnormal idle time. Abnormal idle time, right? One is normal idle time and one is abnormal idle time. What is normal idle time? The time which is inherent in any job, inherent in a job. For example, the time taken for a worker to have his lunch, the time taken by a worker to have the water, the time taken by a worker to switch the job, to switch from job 1 to job 2, the time taken by a worker to move from gate to the production area. All these are normal idle time that is unavoidable, that is inherent in the job, that will happen, right? You cannot ask a worker to not have the food in between, right? Abnormal idle time is due to abnormal reasons, is due to abnormal reasons. Any idle time which is due to abnormal reasons, that is my abnormal idle time, right? Abnormal reasons is can be like machine breakdown. Machine breakdown. Now, this is not normally that is happening, sir, right? This is the abnormal reason. So, how to calculate the effective hours? Effective hours is those hours during which the production is taking place. Production is taking place, right? So, if you talk about effective hours, how will you calculate the effective hours? Effective hours are calculated as total working hours, total hours, that is the total time that the worker is spending inside the factory minus the normal idle time. Minus the normal idle time. Right? This will be your effective working hours. Effective hours. Sir, why not abnormal idle time? Because during abnormal idle time also, we will not be having any production or any output, but that abnormal cost is charged to costing P&L account. This is charged to costing P&L account. We cannot recover it from our customer, but the cost incurred for these effective hours, it will be charged from our customer. That is why the normal idle time is subtracted and the abnormal idle time is not subtracted from this part, right? So from here we can also calculate the effective labor cost. We can also calculate the effective labor cost. Effective labor cost. What is effective labor cost? That is total labor cost. Total labor cost divided by effective hours. Right? Nityananda, this is just revision of all the concepts, not the practicals, right? I told in advance, और अगर practical questions practice करने ही थे तो पेड सीरीज थी वह ज्वाइन कर लेते नॉमिनल चार्जेस पे, पेपर 8 पेपर 10 हर दोनों सीरीज की दोनों ही सीरीज बनाई थी जहां पर प्रैक्टिकल क्वेश्चंस की करवाए गए हैं सॉल्व, राइट? तो थोड़ा इन्वेस्ट करना सीखो अपने आप में. सब कुछ अगर आप कहो कि सब कुछ ही यूट्यूब पे फ्री में मिल जाए तो कल को आप भी किसी के लिए फिर फ्री में ही काम करोगे, कोई आप में इन्वेस्ट नहीं करेगा। ठीक है ना, कड़वी लगेगी बट ये सच्चाई है सर। अगर आज किसी चीज में आप इन्वेस्ट नहीं करने के लिए तैयार हो तो कल को तैयार रहना कि कोई भी आप में इन्वेस्ट नहीं करेगा। दिस इज व्हाट द फ्यूचर होल्ड्स फॉर यू। चलो उसके बाद इफेक्टिव लेबर कॉस्ट आ गया। क्लियर है, यहां तक का पार्ट क्लियर है? जल्दी से बता दो, जल्दी से बता दो, यहां तक का पार्ट क्लियर है? आगे बढ़ते हैं। अगला टॉपिक जो आ रहा है हमारे पास दैट इज ओवर टाइम। अगला टॉपिक हमारे पास जो आ रहा है दैट इज ओवर टाइम। अब ओवर टाइम क्या है? ओवर टाइम इज टाइम स्पेंड, टाइम स्पेंड over and above, over and above normal working hours, over and above normal working hours, right? That if the normal working hours of the factory are 8 hours and if a worker is working for more than 8 hours, that is my overtime. But there are specific conditions given in the Factories Act 1948 regarding the overtime, that obviously if a worker is working for more than the required number of hours, he should be treated accordingly with the incentives, right? He should be paid accordingly, he should be paid something extra for that, right? The time spent over and above the normal working hours. After that, the provisions regarding the overtime are given in the Factories Act 1948, are given in the Factories Act 1948. What are that provisions? The provision says that if a worker works for more than 9 hours, if a worker works for more than 9 hours, or if he works for more than 48 hours. Now this 9 hours condition and 48 hours, the 9 hours condition is for a day. If a worker works for more than 9 hours in a day or 48 hours in a week, then he is entitled to overtime at double the normal rate. Now, right, the overtime is to be paid. Overtime is equal to 2 into normal rate. Now, if the normal rate is 100 rupees, if the normal rate is 100 rupees, the overtime will be paid at 200 rupees. So this is what the Factories Act has to say about it. After that, the next thing in this series is the treatment of overtime. The next is treatment of overtime. How the overtime is to be treated in the costing. This is important, sir. How the overtime is to be treated in the costing. The first thing is, if the overtime has been done at the request of a customer, is done at the request of a customer, then how to treat the overheads, how to treat this? Sir, this will be the overtime cost. Overtime cost will be charged to this particular customer only, to this particular customer only, right? The second scenario here is, if the overtime is done due to the general pressure, general work pressure. It is not at a request of any one particular, it is due to the general work pressure. Then what will happen? It will be charged to all the jobs. It will be charged to all the jobs. Right? How you are going to charge it to all the jobs? Very simple, sir. Normal wages normal wages plus overtime. अंकित अप्रोक्सीमेटली 10 डेज 6-7 के आसपास तक चलेगी, डिवाइडेड बाय नॉर्मल टाइम प्लस दिस इज ओवरटाइम वेजेस प्लस ओवरटाइम। पूरा कवर्ड है प्राखर, जो हमारी कॉस्टिंग की प्लेलिस्ट है पूरा कवर है। हैंडबुक्स लेना चाहते हो हमारी वेबसाइट से अवेलेबल है, और जो सीएमए मॉड्यूल की सीरीज है दैट इज अवेलेबल आल्सो फ्रॉम आवर वेबसाइट और फ्रॉम आवर मोबाइल ऐप, जहां से भी बाय करना चाहते हो अब, दैट इज टोटली योर चॉइस। कॉन्सेप्ट सारे यूट्यूब पे कवर्ड है, जो प्लेलिस्ट है जो लाइव बैच हुआ था उसमें सीएमए का भी सारा कवर्ड है। चलो तो दिस इज नाउ इफ इट इज जनरल वर्क प्रेशर यू विल चार्ज इट फ्रॉम ऑल योर कस्टमर्स। द थर्ड वन इज if it is due to some mismanagement, if due to mismanagement or any abnormal reason, or any abnormal reason, then what will happen? Sir, this overtime will be charged to costing profit and loss account. Costing profit and loss account, right? So this is the treatment of overtime. This is how the overtime will be treated in the books. That if it is at a request of a customer, you will charge it to that particular customer. If it is due to the general work pressure, then it will be charged to all the jobs, to all the customers, right? By calculating this single rate, average rate. Then if it is due to the mismanagement or if it is due to the abnormal reason, it will be taken to costing profit and loss account. Clear? Quickly let me know if it is clear. Okay. Let's move on to the next topic, that is incentive plans. So the next topic is incentive plans. Incentive plans. Now, what about the incentive plans? The first incentive plan that we have is straight time rate system. So I'll cover all the important incentive plans. The first plan is the straight time rate system. Now, what is this time rate system? That you are paying it on the basis of whatever the time is being taken by the worker in manufacturing a particular product, in manufacturing a particular unit, right? So the formula is very simple, that is time taken by the worker. The formula is very simple, that is time taken multiplied by rate per hour. Obviously the time taken will be in the hours, so it is time taken multiplied by rate per hour. This is straightforward, you are paying it on the basis of whatever the time he is spending multiplied by the rate per hour which will be given to you. The second is straight piece rate system. Straight piece rate system. Now what happens in the straight piece rate system, sir? What happens in the straight piece rate system? The payment is done on the basis of the number of units being manufactured and not on the basis of the hours, right? So it is the number of units produced. Number of units produced multiplied by rate per unit. Multiplied by rate per unit. Now, in this particular case, there is a scenario if it comes to you that the rate per unit is not given to you, still the rate per hour is given. If rate per hour is given and rate per unit is not given, rate per unit is not given, then in that case you definitely will be given some situation in which you can find out that in the manufacturing of the particular number of units how many hours have been spent. For example, if I say in making of one unit how much hours are required, 10 hours are required. So if you have manufactured 100 units, now, if it is a straight piece rate system, you will be paying for the 100 units, that is number of units manufactured. If the rate per unit is given, you will directly multiply it with the rate per unit. But if the rate per unit is not given, then you will identify that how many hours will be required for this 100 units. For one unit, if it is 10 hours, then for 100 unit, it will be 10 multiplied by 100, 1000 hours. Multiplied by, here the rate per hour will be given to you. So this is how you can calculate that what will be the cost for 100 units. This is how you can calculate the cost for 100 units. Right? So this is the straight time rate and the straight piece rate system. Now after this, just try to understand one concept of efficiency. Right? If I talk about this particular concept of efficiency, how you can identify the efficiency of a worker. The efficiency can be identified in two ways, based on units and based on time. So for efficiency, you need two things. That means you compare the standards with actuals. How do you try to calculate the efficiency or find out the efficiency of the worker? You have set the standards for a worker, then you will try to identify that whether the actual time taken or the actual number of units that the worker has manufactured, does that meet with the standards, right? So efficiency is you will compare actuals with standards. You will compare actuals with standards, right? Now, if it is based on the number of units, then what will happen, sir? Let's say the standard units is within the given time. I ask that worker that today you have a standard number of units that you have to manufacture 100 units, and actually he has manufactured 120 units. So is the efficiency good or is the efficiency bad? How can I identify the efficiency here? The efficiency will be actuals divided by standard multiplied by 100, that is 120 by 100 into 100, that is 120%. Obviously, sir, if he is manufacturing in the given period of time, if he is manufacturing more number of units than the standards, his efficiency is more than 100%. His efficiency is very good, right? On the other hand, if you try to calculate the efficiency on the basis of the time, sir, the standard time for a manufacturing a particular product, I have given the 10 hours, but the actual time that he has taken for manufacturing that unit is 20 hours. Now, is he an efficient worker or not? Obviously not, right? Because the standard time that one per product should have been manufactured within the 10 hours, but actually he is taking 20 hours for the manufacturing of that particular product. So in this case, how will you calculate efficiency? In this case, the efficiency will be calculated as standards divided by actuals multiplied by 100, that is 20 divided by 10 multiplied by, no, standard is 10, sorry. Standard is 10 here, 10 divided by 20 into 100, that is 50%. So please be very careful in case of efficiency, because the incentive plans which we are going to do further, right, the differential piece rate system, there the efficiency is required. So if you are calculating the efficiency based on units, then it has to be actuals divided by standards into 100, and if you are going to calculate it on the basis of the time, then it has to be standards by actuals into 100. Clear? Any doubts up till this point? Please be careful with this thing. Quickly let me know if it is clear. No doubts? So I think only 3-4 people are there who are watching this, right? Overall also there are only 15-16 people who are watching. Anyhow. Okay, so the further incentive plans, let's move on to the next one. The next one now we have is differential piece rate system. One system is differential piece rate system. First, we studied about the straight piece rate system, that is to every worker, we are paying a single rate for the number of units that he or she is manufacturing. Now we are saying the differential piece rate system. Differential piece rate system. Now this differential piece rate system, we have three major systems. Under this differential piece rate system, we have three major systems to be discussed. The first one is the Taylor plan. The second one is the Marek plan. And the third one is the Gantt task bonus plan. So I'll be covering all the important plans here, right? Okay, so what is the Taylor plan? The Taylor plan says that we are not going to pay a single rate to all the workers, right? We are not going to pay single rate to all the workers. The payment will be done on the basis of efficiency. The payment will be done on the basis of efficiency. So he says if the efficiency of the worker is more than 100%, we'll pay 120% of the normal piece rate. NPR is normal piece rate. We are going to pay 120% of the normal piece rate, and if the efficiency is less than 100%, we are going to pay 80% of the normal piece rate. Now in some of the books you will find this ratios to be I think 122% and 83%. That is also correct, right? Those are also correct. So there are two different variations of the Taylor plan. One is 120 and 80, but in your book in the CMA module it is given as 120 80 only. So just do it 120 80 only, right? So just do it 120 80 only. After that, the next is the Marek plan. What does the Marek plan says? The Marek plan further distributes into, he further distributes this. He says if the efficiency is less than 83%, then you will pay the normal piece rate. NPR is normal piece rate. That if the efficiency is less than 83%, you will be paying the normal piece rate. If the efficiency is between 83 to 100%, then you will pay 110% of normal piece rate. And if it is more than 100%, you will be paying 120% of the normal piece rate, right? So this is what is the given by Marek. So in every case, what you have to calculate is you have to calculate the efficiency. How can you calculate efficiency, sir? How can you calculate efficiency? The efficiency, that is why I took up this topic separately, that efficiency can be on the basis of units and efficiency can be on the basis of time also, right? So it depends. What about the Gantt task bonus plan? He says if the efficiency is less than 100%, then you will be paying the time rate here. If the efficiency is less than 100%, then you will be paying the time rate, not the piece rate, right? According to the number of hours being spent. If it is equal to 100%, if it is equal to 100%, then it will be time rate plus 20% bonus on the time rate, right? And if the efficiency is more than 100%, then you will be paying the high piece rate. High piece rate is the maximum piece rate which can be given, and it will be given in the question to you. It will be given in the question, right? So this is all about the differential piece rate systems. Is it clear, sir? Just let me know quickly if it is clear. Differential piece rate system, three major systems in this: Taylor, Merrick and Gantt-Task bonus plan. Okay, let's move on to the next one, that is the premium bonus plans. The next that we have is premium bonus plans. Now, what about the premium bonus plans? If we divide the premium bonus plans, these can be divided into four parts. 1, 2, 3 and 4 part, right? The first part is Halsey plan. Then we have the Halsey-Ware plan, IR. Halsey-Ware plan. After that, we have Rowan plan. And the last one is the Barth plan. Now, out of this Halsey plan is important. Then Rowan plan is important, right? Halsey-Ware plan is just a small variation of the Halsey plan itself. Now, what does the Halsey plan has to say? The Halsey plan says how the payment is to be done to the worker. He says the payment to the worker will be divided into two parts. The one part is the normal wages that is to be paid dependent upon the time which is taken. Second part is the bonus to be paid for the time saved. Is if he is giving the time saved, that means these premium bonus plans are dependent upon three things. What is the time allowed to the workers? What is the time allowed to the workers? Let's say the time allowed for manufacturing of a particular product is 20 hours. Then the second thing is time taken by the worker. That is, if that worker manufactures the product in 15 hours instead of 20 hours, right? If the worker manufactures the product in 15 hours instead of 20 hours, after that, the time, so what he has done is the time saved. What is the time saved? 5 hours. So the Halsey says, all these premium bonus plans says that you should be rewarding the worker for this saving in the time. For the saving of 5 hours in the time, you should be rewarding the worker because this time can be utilized for some other job. How? Now, what is the payment to be done according to the Halsey plan? The total payment will be, the first is the basic payment, that is time taken. TT is time taken multiplied by time rate. Multiplied by rate. Okay, I'll just write it as rate. Multiplied by rate. Plus, this is the normal wages that you will be paying. Plus, you have to pay the bonus. The bonus will be 50% of the time saved multiplied by rate, right? So whatever the time you have saved, you will pay the 50% of that. The remaining 50% you will not be paying. Now, regarding this 50%, if in the examination you get a question where they have specifically mentioned that what is the percentage of the bonus to be paid, it is not necessary to be 50%, sir. If the question is silent, then it will be 50%. But if the question is not silent, if the question specifically mentions that you have to pay at 40%, 30%, 20%, then it will be that rate only. Clear? After that, the Halsey-Ware plan, it will be time taken multiplied by rate plus 33 1/3% or 1/3 of time saved into rate. Right? After that, the Rowan plan. The Rowan plan says that we are not going to pay directly on the percentage basis. We will pay on the proportionate basis. So what will be the proportionate basis? Time taken into rate will remain the same. That is, the basic wages will remain same. Plus, Now the bonus is to be paid on the basis of what? Time taken divided by time allowed multiplied by time saved multiplied by rate. Right? This is how the bonus will be calculated on the proportionate basis. On the basis of proportionate basis. So what is the Barth plan? Barth plan is not at all important. Not at all important, sir. That is rate multiplied by under root of time allowed into time taken. Right? So this is the Barth plan. So these are your premium bonus plans. So for any of the premium bonus plan, what is important is just calculate three things. One is the time allowed, second is time taken, third thing is time saved. If you have got all the three parameters, then you can calculate any the wages as per any of the premium plans, right? So this is what you have to remember. Clear? Any doubts on this thing? One and the same thing, Abhishek. आप इस चीज का कह रहे हो, चाहे टाइम सेव्ड बाय टाइम अलाउड इनटू टाइम टेकन कर लो, एक ही बात है. इट इज वन एंड द सेम थिंग. मल्टीप्लाई कर रहे हैं हम लोग. इट इज वन एंड द सेम थिंग. ऐसे लिख लो, टाइम टेकन बाय टाइम अलाउड इनटू टाइम टेकन कर लो. इट इज वन एंड द सेम थिंग ना. इट इज मल्टीप्लाई ओनली. Any doubts? Okay, now we are moving on to the last topic, that is the labor turnover ratio. We are moving on to the last topic, that is labor turnover ratio. Labor turnover ratio. Okay. So in the labor turnover ratio, we broadly divide this topic into three parts. Three formulas. What is the labor turnover, sir? Turnover is when the labor leaves you, you have to hire the fresh labor. Obviously, there is additional cost in that, right? Because for the new workers that you will be hiring, you will have to incur the training cost. You will have to incur the HR cost, right? In recruitment cost can be there. So all these things lead to the labor turnover, and in any business, businessman wants to know why there is a high labor turnover or the low labor turnover is good for the business, right? If it is a high labor turnover, then obviously the cost related to the labor will increase for that particular business, and that businessman is interested in knowing that how much of the workers are leaving, how much of the workers are joining the firm, right? So for that, there are different methods. The first method is the replacement method, by which we can calculate the labor turnover. Replacement method. Now what is replacement method? That if two workers left, A and B left, and in their seats only we have brought C and D, right? So they have replaced A and B. They are not the new joinings. A and B left the firm, and C and D are coming and sitting on their seat, right? So that is known as replacement. So the formula is number of replacements divided by average number of workers, right? The second one is the separation method. What is separation method? All those who are left the firm, or all those to whom we discharged, right? Even the, or the company kicked the employees or the employees kicked the company. All those are separated. That means if an employee has left the company, that is a separation method, right? So in this we calculate it as number of separations divided by average number of workers, right? The third one is the flux method. The flux is the combination of two methods. In this, the formula becomes number of separations plus number of accessions divided by average number of workers, right? Now, what about this accession, sir? I have used the word accession. What is this accession? Accession is number of replacements plus number of new joinings. New joining means that you have not replaced A and B is also there, but you have hired C and D also, right? In addition to the existing employees, you have hired someone, that is known as new joining. So accession is the sum total of replacement plus the new joinings. The flux method can also be calculated as, or it can also be calculated as number, if the separate accessions are not there, number of separations plus number of replacements. If the new joinings are not there, we can use replacements divided by average number of workers. Right? Any doubts? So this is all about the labor turnover. So you have to find out, you can be required to find out by the different methods, and we have already done the questions where this labor turnover question is very good. One labor turnover question we have done where they try to find out the profit foregone. Please do that question, right? That is a very good one, that if the labor leaves, the new worker will comes into the place, and we have to spend the training cost also, the recruitment cost also, and in that process some of the hours will be lost, right? During that, for example, A and B were the workers who are manufacturing 1000 units. Both the workers left or we kicked them, right? Now the new workers will come into their place. We have to train them first. A and B were fully trained. They were manufacturing 1000 units, right? Now what will happen to the new workers? For the new workers, some of the time will have to be spent in training them, and during that process, in the time which A and B were manufacturing 1000 units, C and D are manufacturing only 500 600 units. So that means there is a loss of contribution, there is a loss of profit also on the remaining 500 units which they are not manufacturing, right? So all these costs you have to be very careful about, and we have already done a question on that. Right? So during the revision process, I have covered everything that is related to the labor turnover, all the important topics, all the incentive schemes. The premium bonus plan is very, very important. This is very important. The question on Halsey and the Rowan plan specifically, right? Then differential piece rate system we have done, efficiency, how to calculate efficiency we have done, right? Treatment of overtime we have done. So all this was regarding the labor costing. Any doubts up till this? Any doubts in this part? So we are done with the labor part. No doubts in this part? No doubts in this? Okay, so we'll end the today's session. From tomorrow, I'm not sure if we can continue with this series because there is no attendance, sir. Only 10, 12 people for doesn't make sense, right? Only 10, 12 people are attending the session, and it is not at all interactive, not fun, nothing, sir, nothing. I don't think so. There is any point in continuing. How to remember is just remember the concepts, or just go through with, if you have making in this flowchart form, just go through with the things again and again. Just go to the things 2 or 3 times, right? And if you know the concept, if you have understood the concept in the first go, then it will be easy. It will automatically be easy to remember. The rest is the practice. The rest is how many times you revise it. That is the key, right? That is the key, that how many times you revise the particular concept, that becomes the key. Okay, so with this note, if you don't have any other problems, we can end this session. And अभिषेक, वो ना KSJ टीचिंग वाली जो ऐप है ना, वहां पर अपलोडेड है. जस्ट मुझे एक मेल ड्रॉप कर देना अभिषेक. जस्ट ड्रॉप मी द ड्रॉप एन ईमेल, राइट? विल प्रोवाइड द इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम द KSJ हैंडबुक्स. आई नो यू हैव परचेज द KSJ हैंडबुक ट्रायो, मुझे याद है अच्छे से. अभिषेक, आप एक मेल ड्रॉप कर देना. या फिर अगर आपने KSJ टीचिंग ऐप डाउनलोड कर रखी है और वहां पे मैंने एक ग्रुप बनाया था, इफ यू रिमेंबर, आई विल चेक इफ यू आर देयर और नॉट. मैंने एक बैच बनाया था, उस बैच में मैंने वो क्वेश्चंस प्रोवाइड किए थे. KSJ हैंडबुक के क्वेश्चंस जो थे प्रोवाइड किए थे मैंने. आई विल चेक इफ यू आर देयर और नॉट. आपने अभिषेक ऐप डाउनलोड कर रखी है क्या? अगर ऐप डाउनलोड कर रखी है ना, तो ऐप पे एक मैसेज ड्रॉप कर देना. आई विल ऐड यू टू द बैच. ठीक है, एक बैच में ऐड करूंगा. वहां पर आई हैव प्रोवाइडेड, नहीं, वेट 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 वेट, लेट मी चेक. जो फ्री स्टडी मटेरियल वाला सेक्शन है, शायद यहीं वहीं पर अपलोड कर दिए थे. जो फ्री स्टडी मटेरियल वाला सेक्शन है, हाँ अभिषेक, जस्ट लिसन. जो KSJ टीचिंग मोबाइल ऐप में जाओगे, वहां पे फ्री स्टडी मटेरियल वाला सेक्शन है. ठीक है, सुन लो. वहां पे फ्री स्टडी मटेरियल वाला सेक्शन है, वहां पर जाओगे तो वहां पर आपको एक PDF मिलेगी, कॉस्टिंग इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चंस KSJ हैंडबुक्स. ठीक है, तो वहां से आप वो PDF डाउनलोड करके इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चंस एक बार प्रैक्टिस कर लेना. ठीक है, ठीक है अभिषेक, कंफर्म कर दो एक बार. ओके, चलो ठीक है जी. we'll end this session, and with that note we end the revision of labor costing, right? So see you guys soon. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy, keep studying, keep sharing. Thank you so much.